Hi everyone, this is the LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising Lloyd's Green Forest Dragon set from January 2025. So I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. And no, I will not use the instructions. What I will do is I'm going to take this dragon after I've built it and convert it into a mini Guardian Dragon, which is a set that was released in June 2025. But since that set is very large and expensive, I'm thinking this is also a green dragon from the same theme. Can I recreate that set at a much cheaper price point? And I've done this before with the Jaws set, so check out that video if you have not already. But let's build this set first. You look at the top of the box, as well as the back, and that's a very nice shot right here. Usually we get to see some set features or other details about the set, but here's just a picture of the Lloyd and the dragon, or wyvern as some people refer to these two-legged dragons. And here's a golden version of Ryu. So let's open the box and see what's inside. So in this set we got two numbered bags. These wings, which are obviously done in plastic and not like the cloth wings of the much larger Guardian Dragon, but they'll get the job done regardless. And there's one mold that is used for both the right and left wings, so it's symmetrical in fact. And we have these instructions that of course we'll not be using, but I might use this cover page just as an additional angle or vantage point of reference. Oh, and by the way, there are no stickers in this set, and that is a good thing. Alright, let's start with bag one. Bag one gives us the Lloyd minifigure as well as most of the dragon, surprisingly enough. So that includes the head, the wings, most of the main body, as well as the tail. Bag two finishes up the build with this pull here and a very nice printed piece with a dragon symbol on it. These swords that are used for the actual dragon tail, which are a bit wider than the swords used for the Lloyd minifigure, as well as the feet of the dragon, including some golden parts right here and these golden parts on the wings. So basically the finishing touches of the dragon are done in bag two. And we also get this Dragonian warrior and this golden dragon, mini golden dragon, which is the same mold as Ryu, also in bag two. In the set we got two minifigures, the Lloyd and this Dragonian scout. And both of these minifigures are nice to get, with printing on the torso and legs, but no side printing for either of them. This guy, I made him lean back a lot just to balance out this weapon, so try to adjust him, and hopefully the weapon does not hit Lloyd as they spin them both around. And while we're here, I'll point out some of the accessories. So they both have these shoulder pads or shoulder accessories that can be used to carry other things. We do not get a mini dragon in this set, but they can be sourced from other sets and attached here. And then the Lloyd gets his usual thing to carry swords, but only these narrow swords and not the wider ones that are attached to the dragon itself. So basically this sword also included in this set is not going to fit here, which is a little bit awkward. So I don't know why they need these two swords, but at least there's some variety, so I'm not going to complain, it's just a bit strange. And here's a look at the printing on the backs of the torsos. Both of them are well done. I do like the dragon pattern here. I do like the silver on the Dragonian. It's nice and shiny, reflects well in the light. And I'll also point out the back printing on the Dragonian head right here. And the Lloyd has an alternative expression. And here's what that looks like in context. So here is in like full dragon mode or ultimate mode, whatever they call it. Every few seasons they come up with a different name for this intense mode of activity, or maybe he's just doing really awesome spinjitzu. So that's nice to see. It's nice to have different varieties. I really wish that one of his expressions at least would be a smile, because here he's like grunting or focusing, and here he's frowning. So both of these are very serious expressions. It would have been nice to get one of his usual smiley expressions as well, but I guess you can't get everything, and most of the time he's going to be wearing this mask, which is dual molded, by the way, between the bright green and dark green, so it's not going to matter that much, I guess. I also wish that they had included a hairpiece for him instead of just the helmet. I know LEGO has been doing this in some of the sets, but I wish they would do it in all the sets and just have it as a default so that we're not wondering whether or not we get a hairpiece with each minifigure. And here's a comparison with the Spectral Dragonian from the polybag that was released this summer. So two Dragonians, they look kind of similar, but also opposites of each other just because of the huge variation in the color scheme. But still you can kind of tell that they're both inspired by the same original idea and they both have the same terrible hair. And here's what that hair would look on Lloyd. This is illegal, so we cannot officially do this because the hair would not cover the second expression, but it's just funny to me. And if I recall correctly, Lloyd did wear this a long time ago, like 5 years ago in Prime Empire. He had a weird haircut like this. So to summarize, we have good figures for this set, and at $20 US, 25 Canadian, these are good figures to get. I would not have complained if they added a third figure. I don't know what is the significance of the Golden Dragon in this particular season. I know in previous seasons, the Golden Dragon is the one that basically banishes all evil, and it's basically the dragon that saves the day at the end of many of the previous Ninjago seasons. So if I had to guess, it would probably be the same thing, like this little dragon is going to grow up and save the day at the end of season 3 or season 4 or something like that. And it's the same mold as the baby dragon Ryu from a previous season. And here's a look at it from the top, just to be able to understand it better. And the printing on it is done really nicely, and I do think that you could use this dragon in other themes. It's not something that's locked to Ninjago. I could see this being used in LEGO City or LEGO Friends, or even LEGO Medieval. Now let's talk about the dragon itself, but before I do that, I will point out that in the set, they do give us 4 of these whips. 2 of them are standard and 2 of them are extra. I don't know why they give us 2 extra. And the intention, which is shown on the box, is to use these whip pieces to control the dragon. I don't think that is a good idea, because in Ninjago Dragons Rising, dragons are more independent, dragons can talk, and they're more autonomous, and so I don't think that they should be controlled by the whips anymore. So basically Lloyd is just going to get on the dragon and let the dragon do the work. But before we put him on, let's just take a look at the dragon real quick from all the angles. So there is a big wingspan here. The dragon is quite large. It feels large because of the wingspan, so it feels like you get a lot more stuff here than you actually do, so it's a good optical illusion by LEGO. They could have bumped up the price for this by another $5, and I think a lot of people would have been okay with that, despite the low piece count, because a lot of it is just these 2 pieces right here, which admittedly are large pieces, and you cannot say that this entire piece, this entire amount of plastic is going to cost the same as this 1x1 piece right here. So I do understand why the price is what it is, although of course I'm not going to complain if it's ever made cheaper through discounts or something like that. Yeah, looking at it from the top, I do like the color contrast between the regular green, the dark green, and the transparent bright green. It's a wonderful color combination. Looking at the head, I don't like the hollow part of the head, like at the underside. This does not make sense to me, but the top of it at least looks okay. It feels like it's missing a mouth or missing something. So, and there's no easy way to add something here with your own pieces, so I do think that is a bit of a miss with this particular mold piece, because you know, when you go through the trouble of molding a whole entire piece, you want to make sure to make it as versatile as possible and as useful as possible, not just for this particular model, but for all potential models that could reuse this piece. So I really wish that they would have done this particular part better, because it's easy to customize the other parts. Like if you don't like this color or this piece, you could just take it off and replace it with another piece, but the head is a bit more difficult to replace. If you want to replace it, you're going to have to brick build the whole thing, and that's easier said than done. But moving past that, we get to the neck, and I like that there's 2 points of articulation here, although I don't like the gray, especially the light gray. It feels very out of place compared to the rest of the colors shown here. But on the plus side, we do have 2 points of articulation, so we could do this and just give it a different pose. So there's different things you can do with this. Obviously, you can make the head rotate quite a lot and even look backwards. So that is possible thanks to the 2 points of articulation, so it's always a good thing. The wings can flap up and down, and they are ratcheted, so they will hold their place. They can go down, not by much, because this is the lowest extent that they can go. In terms of up, they can go all the way up to this. So basically it's a 90-degree possibility of rotation, and here's what that looks like in terms of both wings and the dragon itself. So yeah, that's a nice look right there. This is a strange look, and it kind of reminds me of those Star Wars starships when they're like parking after like landing from the atmosphere. So it's a bit funny right there. So I do like the multiple possibilities for posing the wings. That's always a good thing to see. And because they're ratcheted, it means they're going to hold their place. They're not going to droop over time. But I do wish that there was some kind of mechanism where you press a button and the wings would automatically flap. Although I don't think that would have been possible at this scale and size and price. So maybe in 10 years, LEGO's going to have like super small pieces that can do that. But even that, I'm not sure of. We have this flag thing that looks a lot better on this side, and this is a printed piece. There are no stickers in the set. I wish that they gave us like an inverted tile to put here or something, just to make it look a bit nicer. Especially if they had a printed inverted tile, that would have been deluxe. That would have been the best. But instead we just get these anti-studs. And after this saddle part, which is sadly not easily removable, so if you remove all these brown and gold pieces to not have the saddle anymore, it's going to detract a bit from the look. So I do think that they could have done this part a bit better to make it optional, because again, dragons are wild. They do not like to be tamed, especially in Dragons Rising. It's all in the name. And here we have a tail with, again, multiple points of articulation. I just wish that the gray was a bit less prominent. The dark bluish gray kind of blends in with the dark green and the dark blue, but the light bluish gray does not blend in as well. But yeah, regardless of that, the tail can rotate, and if you're not careful, you can actually break off parts of the tail, like I did just now. So you can also do that. So playability is a little bit limited here. You have to be a bit gentle with it. So yeah, you just got to learn how to move these pieces, especially when it's brand new. The pieces are quite stiff. Over time, they will loosen up a little bit and make it more convenient to play around with this thing. But because of these ball joints, you can pretty much adjust the tail however you like. You can pretty much anything that the physics allows you to do, you can come up with possibilities. Like you can lift the tail up, make it go down, do like an S shape. You can do pretty much whatever you want with this tail. And at the end, there's 2 swords here. I don't know what is the significance of these swords and why they need to be here. Are they meant to be part of the dragon and they're representing like an organic part of it, or are they meant as weapon storage that is somehow on the tail for some reason, and then someone could just walk up to the dragon and pick up this sword and actually use it? But maybe it's up to you. After all, a lot of things LEGO leaves to your imagination, and the TV show is just inspiration. So you can use the TV show to give you ideas, and then you make up your own stories. You're not limited to only the stuff that they do in the TV show, in my opinion. So yeah, and this exact dragon, exactly this way, has not appeared in the TV show so far in its current form, from what I know. But it's still a nice dragon. It's an official LEGO set, and it's useful for many purposes. And before we get into that, let's just have Lloyd ride the dragon and just see what that looks like. So yeah, the color scheme matches very well. The bright green with the dark green, regular green, just makes so much sense. And I did not mention this before, but the legs can splay in and out, but they cannot move backwards and forwards, which is kind of an issue, although there are ball joints for the ankles. And there's these golden pneumatic T-pieces that are used to attach the claws right here with clips. And there's another claw, or I don't know what this rear claw is called officially, but this is attached with another clip here at the back. And the other leg is completely symmetrical, and the legs are built on the side, so there's no anti-studs. You cannot directly place this on a base plate, for example. But there are ways to remedy that. You can attach it from the side using this, or you can attach it from here, the underside of the body, or the underside of the tail, although here it's a little bit less stable, but still, you do have options. It's just not the most obvious, like take something and attach it to a base plate. So in summary, I do like this dragon for what it is. It's a $20 dragon, basically, and minus the cost of the minifigures, and it's not that large. It's quite basic in terms of its construction, but it does have these nice large wings, and it does have a certain personality to it. I just wish it had a mouth, because then I can kind of imagine it talking and being more intelligent. And now comes the fun part. I'm going to take this $20 dragon right here and convert it into a $150 Guardian Dragon. So how are we going to do that? Well, I have some pieces from Pick-a-Brick. So you can buy pieces in bulk from LEGO stores, often for very cheap and much cheaper than you can buy them online. So I have some foliage pieces right here. I have some bricks and plates and other random stuff in this other box. And I'm going to just fish around and see what I can come up with. I also have these plates that I borrowed from other sets that I built previously. Comment down below if you want to guess which sets that I got these from. And they're, of course, videos I published not too long ago. So you could use whatever pieces that you have lying around to do this. You don't need to use these exact pieces, these exact colors. It's just what I have lying around. The important thing is just to have something that you are happy with, that you are proud of, that you would like to display to people and say, hey, here's my Ninjago Dragon display. And it can be as simple or as complicated as you want. And just based on the pieces that I have, I'm going to lean more on the side of simplicity. And I'm going to do something that's on the more basic side. But you could, of course, take this to the next level. You could even surpass what the Guardian Dragon base does, and that's a quite good base, but you could go even past that if you want to. With enough talent and enough pieces, you could do anything with LEGO. I'm going to do something that's quite basic. So I have here some black pieces, which I'm going to use for the base, and I'm just going to place them right here, just to link all these tiles together. So these pieces are doing lots of wonderful things. They're linking all these pieces together, and they're giving me a base on which I can build other things. One thing that I do want is a place to put this dragon, so you can be standing up here just like the Guardian Dragon. I might need a few more pieces here, but I'll figure that out soon. And the other thing I want is to have some details, some foliage, and have like the shrine-like thing surrounding it. So one thing that I will do is I use this polybag build as it is, and just put it here. I also thought about using the larger shrine thing from the Dragonian Storm Village, but that one would be as large as the dragon, or almost as large as it, and I want to keep the proportions roughly similar. And here is the final result, or at least the intermediate result of what I was able to come up with. So we have here the dragon. I reoriented its face to point towards the camera just because I think that looks a lot better. And I put it on this perch. So at the bottom, there's these anti-studs I use to attach to this snot piece in black. And this is attached to a bunch of black bricks right here. And there's these medium azure ones in front to represent a sort of waterfall. And yeah, I added a little bit of foliage, this flag, and a bunch of smaller pieces just to give a bit of extra detail. Of course, you can use whatever pieces you have in your own collection. And I'm just going to spin this around so you can see it from all the different angles. And you can see from this vantage point that the head is pointing, quote unquote, backwards. And we have Lloyd here hanging on for dear life on this flagpole. Just thought that would be an interesting dynamic pose. And that's one of the things I like about minifigures. You can clip them onto basically anything. Taking a closer look at the base, you see here the build from the polybag. I elevated it a little bit. I put it on this medium nougat foundation. I added a bunch of foliage pieces in a bunch of various colors that were partly inspired from the original Guardian Dragon set, and partly because these are pieces that I had lying around, so it was very easy for me to use them. And again, that dragon tile looks really good here. We have we have a bunch of different foliage pieces, and maybe you could rearrange these to have a better order, and maybe a dark green plate instead of dark gray would have been better. But of course, these are very easy changes to make. You get the idea. And there's a few spots here where you could put minifigures such as this Dragonian and the dragon himself. So overall, I'm very happy with this build. I think it's a good representation of the idea of the Guardian Dragon, although of course it is not as grand. So you can see what the whole thing looks like from the back as well, and this is a minifigure for scale. You may notice that I did not put anything on these two studs right here, and that is intentional because I do want the possibility to display the dragon looking from the waterfall towards the shore. So in other words, if I pinch the dragon like this and lift up so that this piece remains attached, I want to be able to flip it around like this and reattach it on this side just to give it a different look. There are some pieces here to hold onto the tail just so that the whole weight of the dragon is not on just that piece, because then it would fall over quite easily. And here's an alternative look. Now it's like we're on the ocean and we're coming towards the land. We have this massive dragon at a waterfall. This is a good look also. It might even be better than the first one. So I do like this quite a lot as well. You can imagine there's a big battle happening here, of course. The minifigure, the bad guy minifigure would probably be down here. He's trying to fight Lloyd with his magic axe or something. And then you have this dragon, the golden dragon, which controls all the elements, and somehow brought up a stream of water and is now like standing or hovering on top of it. You have the Dragonian warrior is trying to fight this dragon, and Lloyd is coming in to save the day, and the big dragon right here is just onlooking everything. So that's a nice dynamic scene. Yeah, that looks quite good right there. So yeah, this is definitely something that I'm pretty proud of. I built this very quickly, by the way. I know people who spend hours and hours designing things, you can get much better results, much more consistent if you put a lot of time into it, and I respect that work that is done by those designers. I really enjoy those designs, whether it's coming from LEGO or fan designers, but I also think that the people are very busy every day. If you have a full-time job, for example, like me, or you don't have time to spend months working on a custom creation, it doesn't mean you can't just take a bunch of pieces and put them very quickly together to put something that will make you happy, because this makes me happy. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoy what I put together here. It's just like cooking. Maybe you are a celebrity chef and you can spend 5 hours to make the most magnificent fancy dinner, but some people don't have time for that. So it's good to be able to cook your own food, and in this case, cook your own LEGO. And let me know in the comments down below if you think that I cooked with this one, or am I the one who's cooked. Do share your own custom builds if you are a small YouTuber or even a large YouTuber. You're watching this video, you have some custom builds that you want to share, and let me know what you want me to do next. And just before we wrap up, I do think that with these additions, this set has an excellent value. So again, this is a set that costs only $20 US or $25 Canadian. I don't really use the only word too much on this channel when talking about price. Yes, the part count is a bit low, but you get some good minifigures, you get the Golden Dragon, you get these very large wings, which are very useful for building custom things, as we have just seen. So I do think that the value is there for this set, and I'm sure that someone is going to take this idea of turning this into the Guardian Dragon and just making a much better version of this. If you have more time and more pieces, I'm sure you can come up with even better designs than this. But just don't go up to the level of the Guardian Dragon, because at that point, just get the Guardian Dragon. So there's a limit to how much you can improve this before you're just better off getting the Guardian Dragon itself, unless you just want something smaller in terms of scale, but you do want that same level of quality. So yeah, I do think the price and value for the set is there. In terms of building the set without the instructions, it was pretty simple to build using only the box and nothing else. You can see pretty much all the pieces, nearly all of them, just from this side and this other side. So it's pretty easy to figure out, in my opinion. And so I do recommend, even if you don't have lots of experience, that you get this set and you build it without the instructions, and I think you will learn a lot about yourself when building this set, and about LEGO and building techniques, especially if you're new to this. So yeah, I'm very positive when it comes to this set. I'm very happy that I got it. And yeah, of course, if you find it on discount, it's even better, but even at the regular retail price, it's not bad. So those are my thoughts on this set. What do you think about the set itself and my custom build? Let me know in the comments down below. And be sure to like and subscribe for more amazing videos coming your way very soon. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next one.